We don't have to eat like slaves anymore because we're not slaves.
If you cannot control what you eat, then you cannot control what you feel.
Eat your largest meals in the middle of the day, not the end of the day.
What part the homeostasis plays, you're on your way to healing yourself. The homeostasis is the internal environment where your body is at its ultimate functionality for healing.
Just keep in mind that everything that is happening to you is happening for you.
Hello, hello, hello. Grand rising to everyone here. Thank you all so much for joining us here. You are in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. I am Carolyn, his co-host. And today's topic is dangerous food additives. This one's going to be a good one. Oh, yes. Do you know what's in your food? Do you know what's in your food? All right. So everyone here, thank you so much for joining us today. Grand Rising. Hey, I see Shirley. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Sophia Jackson. Good morning. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Dr. Zarif, go ahead and join me up here so we can get the party started. Right.
Wow, that was, I'm ready, but you listo? See,
I am ready.
Okay, all right, I got you. So Sophia Jackson and Nurse Shirley Gento Smart, thank you very much for being here today. We also want to welcome White Snow 37. Yes, and we had Jedwa back in the house. Thank you, Jedwa, for being here this morning. White Snow 37 also, thank you so much. It's just really great to see you all. It's nothing like consistency, Carolyn. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love it when we can look forward to seeing you as well as you look forward to seeing us. And grand rising to you all. Today, we're going to get right into it. There's a lot to cover today. You know, I want to just talk about the things that I really want to talk about is our broken food chemical review system. That's what really what we're talking about, because we have these acts that we're not even aware of, like the California Food Safety Act, for instance. This was passed into law earlier this year, that it bans the manufacture, sale, and distribution in the state of foods containing potassium bromate. Now, potassium bromate, you probably haven't even heard of this, but potassium bromate is in practically all of our baked goods. So when you go to the supermarket, you come in and you might go through produce first. And then after produce, you have maybe meat, and around that meat area where they have the meat, there's also baked goods. Everybody got the picture? You know why? Because all of them go by that recipe. And right there where the meat, you see the meat, you see all of the different bagels and coffee rolls and donuts and pies, all of this stuff. Well, bromelate plays a huge part in there, as well as the propyl paraben. You have also red dye number 3, and you have the brominated vegetable oil, whose authorization the Food and Drug Administration just proposed to revoke. So some things we do are in motion as far as getting rid of, but these things have been around for a very, very long time. Potassium bromate itself was the first approved for use in the United States by the FDA, and that stands for the Food and Drug Administration, in the 60s. And in 1973, now this is way back there, 1973, the FDA announced a planned literature to review a review of the additive, but it's unclear whether that review was completed or it has any, I don't know, excess, if we can find out exactly what happened there. So sometimes things get a little cloudy when it comes to what happened to some of these things that are supposed to be cleared. Now, there are some health concerns when it comes to potassium bromate. It's not allowed for use in several countries, including the United Kingdom, Canada, Brazil, and European Union. California requires food with potassium bromate to carry a warning label. So if you are here in California, you should have a warning label. If you're in Detroit or if you're in Chicago, if you're calling us from overseas, it's still important because sometimes these foods are prepared with that same recipe. And if it has the potassium bromate in it, then that can definitely it merits a warning. Even with plenty of evidence of showing that the potassium bromate's potential to at least harm to human health is still legal. It's still legal, although, despite it showing harm to human health. So we really have to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we read this, read those labels so that you'll make better decisions. The food industry has a long argument going that a potassium bromate isn't a concern in baked goods. Picture a baby right now. And picture that baby with maybe, let's say, a cinnamon roll in his or her hand. And you know how babies take the cinnamon roll and they munch on it for a while, and then it falls on the floor and they pick it back up and they munch on it in a little while. It looks like something that's not going to even hurt them. But then again, remember, I want you to keep in mind chronic. When we talk about chronic diseases, we talk about diseases that are actually accumulating. So you can have a chronic disease and not even know it. And you can also have a chronic disease and have not have any type of, you're asymptomatic. You don't have any type of, pain or anything. But chronic means after a time, after a period of time where you go on year after year, month after month. And then when you finally are forced to go to the hospital where you have a cramp or you can't sleep or you have pain in your abs, your stomach, your vision is blurred, your legs are weak, all of these things, these different things. And then you say, whoa, I got to go and get it checked out. Well, when you go and get it checked out, they tell you that, ooh, I wish you would have come in about 2 months earlier. We would have been able to do something because you would have taken action. You would have been proactive. You got an examination. But we don't do that. What we do is we wait until we ache. We wait until we have these types of symptoms, and then we go in to get a checkup. Yes, these are some of the things. That's why we're talking about this today. And this is not to like ram it down your throat. It's just to give you the awareness so that you can be more responsible. And then understand, too, what you have out here working for you. Like I said earlier, the California Food Safety Act, you should read more into it. There's another act. It's called the Food Chemical Reassessment Act of 2021. This was introduced by Representative Jan Shawaski, and this would actually bolster that our food regulatory system is a good system. If it's enacted, the bill would create an office of for the food safety assessment within the FDA to confirm that chemicals that enter the food supply chain through legal loopholes. And that's not like the legal loopholes are, it's a conundrum. You know, I mean, that right there is if even when you're listening to it, it sounds that's an oxymoron. However, the legal loopholes or the revisions and the review of the FDA actually for decades have stood up for, you know, finding out the different chemicals in food so that those foods will be safe to eat. The bill identifies 10 chemicals for immediate reassessment, including potassium bromate. So potassium bromate is in all the like cookies that you're eating in those packages. And you think when you see those, you know, one of the things you think is, I know I do, it's like, how advanced can it be? It's only flour and eggs and sugar and baking powder. And you think about that, but when you look at the label, when you're checking those food labels, you look like, oh man, this is more than I thought. It's only, I thought it was maybe 6 or 7 ingredients at the most. But these food scores and in the database that we have available, they can sometimes expose to you some of the things that will be very detrimental to your body. So to move on, I want to move right into the food chemicals. Now, the food chemicals, there's more than 10,000 additives that are allowed to be used in the United States. And these chemicals, they add to our products for a variety of reasons. Now, including your adding of color and adding of shine or stabilize artificial flavors. And of course, to extend the shelf life. Many of these food chemicals have been thoroughly reviewed for safety. That's what they say, thoroughly reviewed for safety, or they haven't been reviewed for decades with the newest science in mind. Now, that's really a very difficult thing, because when we don't update our knowledge, you know, like we know things, but you have to update that because things change, including science. If you are talking about science, we are talking about, when we're talking about science, and I had this discussion with my good friend Chantel yesterday, and we were speaking about the things that that needs to be updated, because there's so many people that are still riding on old information. You know, people that still have the information just from a celebrity nutritionist or a celebrity athlete. People that just get their nutrition information from their pastors or their elders even. Yeah. And all respect to elders. I'm not, of course, you know, I'm not disrespecting them, but when it comes to your nutrition, elder will tell you what worked for them. They'll tell you that this worked for me and this is how I eat. No, I don't need that, but they're talking about themselves. Here, we're talking about what's good for your family, what's good for all people in our community, what's good for each culture even. But starting with the understanding that we have to take responsibility for ourselves and not be so sluggish when it comes to making a decision of helping ourselves to be healthier individuals. I want to go to this word. You will hear it a lot, especially in your studies. If you're studying nutrition science, if you're studying to be a registered dietitian, or if you're working in gastroenterology, endocrinology, it's just good to know a lot of this science. And again, science is, and when I'm saying the science, I am talking about science usually means the facts about it, but facts can change, but principles don't change. So what we are doing here today is we're just learning a little more than you knew before you got here, so that we can put these things in motion. There's an abbreviation, GRAS, and this mnemonic, it actually stands, this stands for generally recognized as safe. If you ever see any food or package with GRAS on it, that's what it stands for, generally recognized as safe. And this is a food category that's created by Congress in 1958. The GRS designation was just intended to apply to ingredients widely recognized as safe, such as salt and water, yeast, and chicken breast. This, in that time, these were some of the foods that were generally recognized as safe. So even though usually the FDA must approve any substance intentionally added to food, and that's not in the case of these generally recognized safe foods. Now, some of the health effects, the experts estimate that more than 1,000 generally recognized as safe substances have entered the food supply without, I say it again, without the FDA or public knowledge. So these are things that we should know. We're eating the stuff, but we're buying things that would and could harm us. The FDA and the public know very little about the safety of these ingredients, and other known generally recognized as safe designated ingredients are believed to pose a significant health risk. So let's go on to this company. Well, EGCG is a company determined GRAS substance, and is often used in the foods and the dietary supplements. So here is another additive, EGCG, and you'll see this again when you're when you look deeper into it, you're doing your due diligence, and you'll find out even more. So I'm just giving you just some basic stuff that you can go ahead and ride with, get the ball rolling. But the EGCG is linked to some of the things like your heart and brain defects, the infant leukemia. Leukemia, by the way, is cancer in the blood. It's blood cancer, a suppression of estrogen, and toxicity in the liver, also in the kidneys and the intestine. So all of this is happening. Even though the FDA acknowledged these dangers in 2008, it accepted the EGCG's GRAS status in 2018 with no questions asked. So there's a lot of things that are on the shelf that will continue to increase our health risk, meaning that we are now exposed to more or vulnerable to the infection. We're more vulnerable to the different types of diseases and illnesses, and of course, death. When the agency questioned a company's request to approve the theobromine as a generally recognized as safe substance, the company withdrew this notification. Now, instead, it just had an independent contractor. And this is where we have to look into things, because you have independent contractors, you got the FDA, you got the NIH, you have the CDC. All of these are different policing institutions that are all about we in the population eating foods that are safe for us. However, all these things are not safe. And other potentially harmful GRAS substances include the propylparaben. You've probably seen this like in hair, washing the hair, in soaps, in shampoos, in other cosmetics. BHA and BHT, which all of these have been linked to a range of potential health problems for years. So let's talk a little bit about what you can do, like closing the loophole. One of the things you can be leaves the responsibility of the food safety and manufacturers, and it actually puts the nation's consumers at risk. That's each and every one of us. But some in Congress, they're still working on closing this matter, resolving it so that we won't be just vulnerable to these things. We won't be exposed to some of these foods. Some of these foods, they look like they're wholesome. They look like they're rich in vitamins and minerals and so forth, but not so much. Now, so I mentioned a couple of things. We already talked about the different things that are in the bread. We're talking about how things have changed over time. It used to be the salt, the water, the yeast, the chicken breasts that were generally recognized as safe. And today, many of these have changed. There's more than 10,000 additives constantly at work on a daily basis. And it's up to you to make the decision to get rid of some of these things, especially potassium bromate, that a lot of our children are being exposed to, because those foods that we feed them, including cereals, they have the potassium bromate in them, and that can cause, again, chronic illness. Now, there's another chemical in this called propylparaben, and this is also called a endocrine disruptor. Now, the endocrine system, you can just think of the endocrine system as the system of hormones. And if you have an endocrinologist, this is a person that specializes in endocrinology. The pastry you're thinking about buying may contain a preservative called propylparaben, and is linked to these disruptions, these hormonal signaling disruptions, and that's in men and women. For some reason, some men think that hormones are only, vital in speaking about, or that's it only makes sense to talking about hormones when you're speaking of females, but it's not true. We men and women, we have hormones, but we'll get back to some of that later. According to the ingredient data obtained in the some of the food scores, the food scores is like rating your plate and looking at the data from your plate, what you're eating and how much of it is in it. But consumers are eating healthier today, and that's the good news. The propylparaben is in 49 widely available processed foods, including Sara Lee cinnamon rolls. Remember, I was talking about the cinnamon roll with the child, sucking on that cinnamon roll all day. And we as grown-ups, even when we go to Starbucks or these other coffee houses, we have these foods that look like they just came out of the oven. And the thing that gets us is that when we see food, what we're doing is we're thinking about what it would look like in grandma's oven. What we're looking at, what it would look like when mom cooks it. But what we do is we get caught up in the emotion of this food. And what we do is we negate what is really going on. So that some of the drugs, the toxins, the chemicals that we put in our body can be endocrine disruptors like the propylparaben. Besides the Sara Lee cinnamon rolls, the Weight Watchers cakes. And for those of you that have you ever looked at some of the ingredients in Weight Watchers? Just because it has Weight Watchers on it, don't think that it's exempt from being just inundated with the different chemicals. So keep that in mind. Another, there's you might La Banderita. La Banderita are corn tortillas, and they also have the propylparaben in them. Really, this is just something that you can just take today and start write these things down. So when you go shopping, you would be aware of these things. Now, cosmetic companies are taking the hint, and they've started removing the propylparaben from some of their products. So, the question is, well, why are the companies still putting this known endocrine disruptor in foods that we eat? Well, I'm just going to give you some of the food that contains the propylparaben as we work together and find the answers. The first, the Amport Foods. Now, Amport Foods, this is another manufacturer of foods, and they manufacture mostly, they're known for chocolate and nut trail mix. And this is, again, we're talking about the foods with the propylparaben in them. You probably haven't heard of it, but it is there, and it does not have to be listed according to the laws. It doesn't have to be listed. You have to do your research, and what you're doing now, getting the information that updates all that old stuff and get past it, because things change, products change. Another food is called Archer Farms. And Archer Farms, they have the gourmet dessert cookies. Again, the propylparaben there. I'm going to name just a couple of more because I have a list from here to Chicago. There have Elizabeth's Naturals, a psychedelic Sunday mix, Cafe Valley pumpkin chocolate chip mini muffins, Premium Orchard rainbow trail mix, and it goes on. You get the idea. I can stay here all day and go through the list, because most of those foods are riddled with many of these chemicals that do not belong in the human body. Some of the rate your plate is, we were talking about earlier, rating your plate is an easy to use food database, and it's there's also a mobile app, so you can find this out. You can get an app that you can add, of course, to the rest of your apps, and you find out more about rating your plate. For those of you that are really serious about finding out how can you start something right now today and start eating better, not eating more, not eating good, eating healthier. So many people say I eat good, and eating good to most people means I had a full plate and I had as much as I wanted. So we want to change that. I'm going to stop right here and bring Carolyn back up and welcome everybody that's just getting in. And we really, really appreciate you being here today. Carolyn, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Zarif. And thank you to everyone that's joined us here in the Mind of Nature. Today's topic is dangerous food additives. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's joined us here today. And thank you to everyone that has subscribed. We are climbing, and I really appreciate everyone subscribing and just showing up and being a part of the conversation. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Dr. Farid Zarif. Okay, that's the YouTube channel. Great information, Dr. Zarif. I'm so happy you mentioned cereal because I don't know if you've heard, just recently, the CEO of Kellogg's made a statement saying people should let me see, I wrote it down. He made a statement telling people they should eat cereal for dinner as an affordable meal choice. And that's because of the rise in the food prices. So he said, hey, go ahead and eat cereal for dinner as well. You know, and so people are pretty much boycotting Kellogg's right now because they were like, wait a minute, you know, that's not right. You know, they already know that it's not healthy to eat cereal. Why are you now telling us to eat it for dinner as well? You know, so that's a whole thing that's going on. So people are boycotting Kellogg's right now. And if you go and you look in the stores and you see the prices, it's like 99 cents. They've dropped the prices down to 99 cents so people can, you know, say, hey, get the cereal. But that's what's going on with Kellogg's. I just thought that was really crazy.
You know, Carolyn, is just like I have some information. It's the common food additives, in, for instance, in Captain Crunch and in Apple Jacks. They also may harm us, and a lot of people don't even know this. Like when you're going shopping for the cereal, you might assume that everything is safe about it and it's on sale, like you said, 99 cents. You know, all of this stuff is business. Some of the biggest pimps on the planet are food manufacturers because they know that they're going to attract us through our vision, the way it sounds, the way it tastes, the way it feels, you know, the way it looks. So that's our five senses. They're going to attack those things because they know people aren't thinking about health when they're thinking about food. People are thinking about filling their stomachs and satisfying this craving. You see, because I say a craving because a lot of us are addicted to food. We don't even know it, but we're addicted. There are some foods that is very difficult for a lot of us to do without. Absolutely. And so we have these things, these different things in food. Have you ever heard of the butylated hydroxyanisole, for instance? That's BHA.
I have not.
Yeah.
BHA. Well, I've actually heard the BHA, but not what it stood for. So
okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about there's the BHT and BHA. These are preservatives that's been around for a long time. And as we continue to find out more and more about these things, especially, I'm glad you brought that up. That was really cool. Carolyn, you're gone. Okay. You're a fast lady. You get it done.
I know that you have a lot of information, Dr. Zarif, and I like to get my points out there and throw it back to you because it's always great information you got. We only got a
little time. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we got to stick to the rules. Okay, thank you. Chantel Heath, I want to get a shout out to Chantel Heath, Henny Boy Houston. All right, Henny Boy Houston here. Super good. So thank you for being here. Allison, Mr. Gentle is here. All right, it's great to see you. Allison Gentle in the house. That's our special guest this morning. Thank you for being here. Miss you, man. We gotta catch up. And then we have Sophia Jackson, and Sophia Jackson says here that she tries only to see a primary doctor for a yearly blood panel, which I then discuss with the natural practitioner. Okay, for ways to heal the body, and since I've changed lifestyle to plant-based. That's very cool, Sophia. That's very cool. And a lot of people are doing that now. They're getting their CBCs, and then they're getting them broken down by somebody that they feel comfortable with, and they go through them. But you can also see your PCP, which is your primary care physician. That's their job. Their job is for you to understand also what's happening, or other professionals that work with them. So if you're paying extra or use extra time and stuff, just keep in mind of that. But I'm really proud of you, Sophia. That's the move to make, and everybody should follow that example and get your steady checkups. We got Yolanda Rogers. Well, we got the comment section is moving. I love it. Thank you, Yolanda Rogers. Always great to have you here. Thank you so much for being a big mama. And she's all the way from Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan out there. Thank you. And the different, we have different brothers and sisters out in Dearborn. Peace to all of you. Ron OJ is in the house. What's good? Okay, so cereal. Yeah, well, you know, cereals, you know, like as far as cereals, hot cereals, you know, whole grain cereals. That's what you should, if you're eating this cold cereals, then over time, you're going to end up with a lot of sugar, more sugar in your blood than you need. And that's called pre-diabetes, or some that end up with type 2 diabetes. I want to say hello again to Jedwa 330, White Snow 37, Sky Aim Productions. We White Snow, good to see you here. Good. Thank you very much, White Snow. It's great to be here. Santiago Bond 5 is here. Saints Stevenson 650 also joined, along with author Natasha Smith. Thank you for being here. All right, author, that's interesting. I would like to know what you write about, and we can have you on the show. We have also White Snow 37. Thank you all for being here. I'd just like to take time to acknowledge you, because I know that, you know, it really and truly is a gift to have you here as we're talking about things. Good morning. I got the good book. Oh, okay. Chantel said that she got the good book. And when she's talking about that, she's talking about, bam, there you go. Oh, yeah. You know what? I sent Mr. Allison, I sent you and Mrs.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he said right here, thanks for the book. And my mom also says good morning. I got the good book.
That's right. That's the good book. That's the good book, Chantel. Yes. Yeah. So it's great. And we also have Shirley Gentle Smart is in the house too, the whole family. I love it. So thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, I am. Oh, wait, we got Pamela Hills is here. Pamela Joy. Yay. God, it's so great to see you. I'm so glad to see you. I think you just recently got married. And if I'm correct, congratulations. And I'm really, really happy to hear that. And good luck. This is Pamela Hill is one of the greatest. She's in Orlando. And she's check her out, because she has some really wonderful art, and she actually sells it online. You know, check her out, Pamela Hill. She's very, very beautiful sister, and she's super talented. Always have been that way. Okay. Oh, y'all still on the cereal stuff? Yeah, I know what you mean. The cereal is not the best food to put in your body, and it definitely is a part of those foods that contain brominated hydroxyanisole, also known as BHA. And also, along with potato chips and cereals and other foods too, we have the butylated hydroxytoluene, and that's the BHT. You will usually find both of these together, and usually they're allowed in these different foods. The BHA and BHT have been shown to cause hormone disruption also. Just like we just talked about the bromelate, this is something that we need to pay attention to as humans. When we eat foods, some foods that are classified as possibly carcinogenic, and you get that classification from the CDC, and that is the Center of Disease Control. So keep all that in mind. Also, you will find out more information here by the International Agency of Research on Cancer, which is an agency of the World Health Organization. So the things that we're telling you today here aren't things that I sat down and wrote down and say, here, this is what I'm going to talk about today. These are things that are well researched. Let's start off with, we talked about the BHT is added to the cereal, including the Captain Crunch, the Apple Jacks, and all the other different pop this, pop that, all that stuff. And it's added so that it can do what? I hear you saying it. You're absolutely right. Prolong shelf life. Now, they seem like a food manufacturing company should be concerned with our health. And I think, honestly, they do have people that take our health into consideration. But when it comes to the bottom line, it's about how much profit. It's about the profit that they're making. So let's go to BHA. BHA is commonly found in preserved meats, such as pepperoni and sausage. The BHA is classified as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen. And as I just said, it's from those CDC and other the USDA and so forth. You notice that there are some foods that don't even get these kinds of tests, like bologna, salami, pepperoni, all of those different types, liverwurst, I think, whatever that is, you know, the kind with the white outside on it, potted meat, Vienna sausages, hot dogs, all of these things that we eat and take for granted. And I know that people from Hawaii and people that are in Hawaii, they love Spam. But if you read the ingredients of Spam, you will say, no, I'm not going to say that. You will say, wow, this is really, really some foul food. Now, people have been doing that for the longest, but it was made for poor people. These are poor people foods. And if you're around, you drive and you ride and you got your cell phone brand new, you got the 15, ooh, you got your computer, your clothes look good, you got money in the bank, but you're eating like a slave. And that's why I named my book Slaves of the Tongue. Now, this offended most people, and they still continue to offend people. But I'm about this blackness right here. And that's why I work extra hard so that we can wake up and stop getting so comfortable so fast when we are dying, not only from all the other stuff in the world that's causing us to die, but the stuff that we inflict on ourselves. So enough of the preaching. Let me get back to teaching. The BHA is something that I really want you to pay attention to because it's listed as a known carcinogen under California's Proposition 65 and is categorized as a possible human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. You see? So when we talk about this stuff and all the foods that I just named to you, it's no joke. This is the stuff that is really happening. Now, the European Union classifies BHA as an endocrine disruptor, like we talked about earlier. Now, you know, we'll get into endocrine late. Well, I got to say a little bit about it, the hormones. So if you're talking about the hormones, you're talking about like the substances that secretes from our brains that we feel good, like some of the feel good hormones, or some like serotonin, for instance, like when we're feeling like we want to make love, or the hormone, you have the feel good endorphins and dopamine. Ooh, and that's when you're real happy about something, you're real excited. Those are some of the hormones. And then you have other countering hormones also. And these can be disrupted by eating the BHA that's in your food. Now, as far as the BHA being a disruptor of your endocrine system, why is because it has the ability to lower testosterone and thyroid hormone thyroxine. So the thyroid hormone thyroxine. You will see people like Wendy Williams now. You'll see her with the bulging eyes. Well, the all the things that's been going on with her, plus the chemical balance, the chemical reactions that's going on in her body has caused her to have these types of reactions. And man, nobody wants to see. I don't. I wasn't a, Wendy Williams big fan or anything. I don't follow gossip and all that, but I know she's famous for, what she does. And the little bit that I know about her is now that she's sick and she's going through all of these problems. The thyroid hormone thyroxine has a lot to do with that. And, you'll find out more information as you probe and do your due diligence. And testosterone, when the testosterone is low, other things start to, as a man starts to feel differently. You lose your mojo, as we call it. So it's really important. We want a level, that appropriate level for that age range. Testosterone starts to diminish as you get older. So if you are already diminishing as you get older, and we all are, this is especially for males, what happens is you start feeling the reactions from that. Now, there are also rat, and now that is a rat. I'm talking about rat. Then the rat studies, there are rat or mice, lab mice and so forth. These studies found that BHA, remember we're talking about butylated hydroxyanisole right now, and it can harm sperm quality in males, and it can cause a decrease of the uterine weight in females. So it can affect females and males, and these are in the rat studies. So you might not want to jump to conclusions yet until you find out more information about it. But the BHA can also cause a hormone disruption again. So you just wonder, why could it be that many people are eating these foods, these additives, and causing them to have disruptive hormonal reactions? Could it be that we could be making better choices? And we also are finding out that the manufacturers and the FDA assert that the BHA is safe. On top of all the stuff that I just read to you about the sperm and the uterine weight changes in females, they still, hey, go ahead, eat the chips, all the different those homemade pizzas that look like all they did is just freeze them and put them in a package. Those are, many of those products are filled with the kind of chemicals that, again, extend shelf life. They also help the product to remain nice and brilliant. When you look at them, it looks like it's alive. The color is there. They know they can't sell it if it doesn't look good. So a lot of these things are because of that. I'll move along to BHT. This is another, I would say, another one of those endocrine disruptors, and it causes thyroid changes, and it affects animal development, according to the European Food Safety Authority. Studies on the rats, they also fed these rats in a BTH study, and they found that they developed liver and lung tumors. So the idea here is not that we're rats, and not that monkeys and so forth, the Ricci monkeys that they use, that are used in labs, but these are ingredients, or these are chemicals that they feed the testing animal, and these animals are winding up with liver and lung tumors. They're ending up with cancer. They're ending up with all types of uterine weight problems, and harming the sperm quality of rats when they study. So that's why you'll have, and many of these things may only apply to the animal, but they certainly deserve pause because people are getting sick and different diseases. And again, remember that the higher the risk of the different diseases and the illnesses and so forth, this is when you need to look at what you're eating and start changing these things, because people don't go around like, does it have butylated hydroxytoluene in it? It's like, what, ma'am? You see? So the BHT is a lab-made chemical that is added to foods as a preservative. And of course, you want to preserve foods because this gives them time to be sold. Real simple. People also use it as medicine. BHT is used to treat genital herpes and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Now, you all know what that is. That's AIDS. So the BHT is used in some of these batches or chemical batches to help treat genital herpes and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is AIDS. And some people apply the BHT directly to the skin for cold sores. So this is used quite widely for various approaches. Now, what I want you to do here, and we're going to get ready to wrap up, but some of the things like you can add to your notes is to avoid the ultra-processed foods. These foods are they should be avoided whenever possible. And now many contain other concerning ingredients, not just the BHA and BHT, but some companies don't even have to put these additives on labels. The organic processed foods are formulated in compliance with strict standards, and they don't contain many of the food additives associated with negative health effects, including BHA and BHT. Now, our most recent peer-reviewed study thoroughly explores the differences between organic and non-organic processes. And I went over that last week, where when you're talking about organic foods, don't think that there's something special and that it's something safe. Know exactly what it is. And usually when you're talking about organic foods, you're talking about the organic plants. You're talking about plants that are treated with an organic pesticide. They still use pesticides because they have to fight the insects. And that in itself is, if you ever been to a farm, you'll see how hard that is, because the insects are doing this natural thing. The plant is doing this natural thing. Now they have to find out or synthesize that different fungicide or pesticide or herbicide to keep those bugs away from the plants, because other than that, they will destroy them, along with other animals that destroys some of the plants. And then we have the non-organic, let me go back. When talking about I talked about the plant, but what's an organic animal? When they say this animal is organic, the only difference between a non-organic and an organic animal is the non-organic animal is raised in a factory, a shed, and then a huge shed. And then you have those that are called organic, and they are raised by allowing the cattle or the different animals to go out and to eat the hay or the grass or whatever is it's just being outside instead of in a factory. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's keep going here. There's another, I'm going to just mention a couple because we're so the time here. There is a preservative that I want you to write down. It's called TBHQ. Now, TBHQ is probably unheard of, but it's a preservative that is pervasive in processed foods. That means widely used. It's been used in foods for many decades and has served no function besides increasing the product's shelf life. It's called TBHQ. That's all it's used for, is to increase the shelf life. There's another acronym I want you to write down, PFAS. Now, PFAS, this is something you probably haven't heard of either. This is the first known compilation available in the research, that you can get this research from nationwide tests when you're doing your due diligence. But it showed that many of the fast food chains used food wrappers, bags, and boxes coated with this highly fluorinated chemical. So this is the stuff you don't even think about, because when you're drinking milk from a carton, you don't think about the lining of the carton, do you? You don't think about what is that. That's also a part of the milk. When you think about other foods that are in wrappers and in bags and in boxes, you don't think about the coating, do you? So look up PFAS and you'll find out more about that. But for now, you get a good idea of what is what's to expect. Some of the food chemical regulations, the Food and Drug Administration, they approve the regulation of food additives, but it does not consider the latest science on the health harms of additives. And that's the problem. You have to make sure that the information that you're getting is the latest information available. Well, it is that time. I have so much more for you. It's that time to say thank you again for being here and share the knowledge. You know, man, this is so good. I just don't want to stop, but I'm going to, I know we got to stop here. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Absolutely. I just wanted to, I know you asked over on Instagram, author Natasha Smith, in regards to the book that she has, and she answered, "Hi, I'm glad to be here. My book is titled Crushed But Unstoppable: How I Overcame Pain in Adversity." And she says, "I'm here because I enjoy hearing about health." And she's also a healthcare provider. So I just wanted to answer that, because I know you asked about the book, and that's over on Instagram. So Natasha, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Oh, by all means. And Natasha, just, you know, when you want to come up, you can just send a message in your comment, and, you know, we'd love to bring you up and hear about that. You know,
absolutely. It would be over on YouTube. Would be the best place for the platform, because Instagram is not as integrated as it should be yet. But definitely Dr. Fareed Zarif YouTube page would be the best place, you know, for something like that. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Cheryl Lee, Nurse Cheryl Lee, Gentle Smart, she got her book. Now, she was the first one on the list.
Oh, yeah, she ordered her book, and yes, it was sent out to her.
And thank you so much, everybody. What we're going to do every once in a while, so we're going to go into the book, and we're going to look. We're going to look into the book for it's so much in this little bitty book. I wanted everybody with the book to, your homework is to check out page 68. And I want you to read under symptoms of self-abuse, symptoms of self-abuse. And this will clearly, some of the things here will clearly talk about why we abuse ourselves, some of the things you can do about it. What do we abuse ourselves with, and that kind of thing. And it's just one paragraph. It's just one paragraph. And that's your homework. Check it out. we are getting out of here. I wanted to go to titanium dioxide, but I just want you to know that be aware, because this stuff like titanium dioxide is in like Skittles and Starburst and thousands of other sweet stuff. And people are just popping that stuff in. You're popping what could cause a problem down the line. Okay. I'm not saying this to boo you. I am saying this so that you'll be aware and make better choices. Back to Carolyn.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. If you have not subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, please do so. It's Dr. Farid Zarif. Again, I'm always so thankful and grateful for everyone that has joined us here today.
And Kara, excuse me for a minute. We are, tell the people we are in 3 digits now. Hey, yeah. So thank you, everybody.
Really
we really appreciate you. We're moving on up there. So now we want to get to the 4 digits now. And as we continue to rise, we all rise together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Absolutely. The excitement. I'm here with you with that. And it's because of everyone here joining, sharing, subscribing. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you all so much. As Dr. Zarif mentioned, we rise together, and that's what we're about right here, being positive and rising together. So thank you all so much for joining us here today. Just remember, in the mind of nature, our mission is to bring awareness, listen to your feedback, and now it's time for you to take action. Just a reminder, we are here every Saturday, 8 a.m. PST. So yes, and happy International Women's Day. That was yesterday, but got to say it today. And it's Women's History Month. So hey, we're in the pink all month. Dr. Zarif, anything?
All right, everybody, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week with another wonderful topic. Thank you, and God bless you and your families, and we'll see you then. Peace.